All right, it is 12:30 in the afternoon, and that means that you are watching Brewing. Welcome to Brewing. I'm your host. My name's Scott Leffler, and we got a bunch of things to talk about today. First of all, new scenery. I'm broadcasting from the living room, a little classier than the kitchen. But I got a bunch of things that I want to talk to you about today. Hopefully, you're tuning in live on Ustream.tv. If not, this will be available, of course, on YouTube at some point later this afternoon. It is Friday, September 14th. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Friday, September 14th. And yesterday's show was both shorter and not live. I apologize about that. To those of you who tuned in yesterday thinking it was going to be live, I do apologize. Sometimes things come up and I couldn't do it live. But I did pre-record something for you. It was a little shorter than normal. I apologize about that aspect of it as well. But I have a bunch of things to talk about today we're going to make up. All right, so we are now in day 4 over violence over a movie. You may have seen about this. Well, I've talked about it the past couple days. And there are protests currently ongoing in Morocco, Libya, Egypt, Sudan, Iraq, Iran, and Yemen. Plus, this morning, a Kentucky Fried Chicken was burnt down in Lebanon. One person dead from that. And currently, according to CNN headline news, the U.S. Embassy in Tunisia was set on fire. Now, this is a pretty big deal. Why is it such a big deal? All right, so this guy by the name of Sam Basile, the guy that made the movie, he made this movie. It was an anti-Islam movie, and among other things, it shows the Prophet Muhammad engaged in like porn. Now, look, we have in the United States free speech, but sometimes it goes too far. This guy Sam Basile, who goes by a variety of other names, by the way, including Youssef M. Basili, Mark Basili Youssef, Nakula Basili Nakula, Robert Basili, PJ Tobacco. Sounds like a band, doesn't it? Hey, we're PJ Tobacco, and we're here to denigrate Islam. And Critbag Diffrat. Critbag Diffrat. That somehow or another the word dirtbag is in there, and it seems quite fitting to me. So this guy decided to make this movie denigrating Islam, and he thought, oh, that'll be fine. No one's going to care. It's my First Amendment right. Now, here's one of the things that I want to talk about today. We have First Amendment rights in the United States. We can say pretty much whatever we want to say. But should we? And this is one of the things that comes up a lot. We have a First Amendment right. I've talked about this before. For those of you who are new to me, first of all, hi, how you doing? My name's Scott. I used to have a talk show on WLVL in Lockport, New York. And when I did my talk show, I occasionally made comment to the fact that we use our First Amendment right. We have no qualms about using our First Amendment right. But sometimes we need to use our Fifth Amendment right. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the amendments, the First Amendment right says, among other things, you have the right to free speech. The Fifth Amendment right, however, says that, among other things, you have the right to shut the hell up. And sometimes I think that we need to use our Fifth Amendment right to shut the hell up more than we use our First Amendment right, which is our right to talk. This guy, Sam Basile, Youssef Basili, Mark Basili, Nakula Basili, Nakula, whatever the guy's name is. And I got all these names via CNN, which it's on in the background, or it's not really the background, it's the side ground for me. Right now it says protesters in Lebanon are burning down a KFC. 40 of the protesters were armed. I mean, it's really scary times that we're living in, I guess you could say. So this guy, Youssef Basili, whatever his name is, he makes this movie that denigrates Islam. And he seems to think that this is a good idea. Now, it is his First Amendment right to make this movie. Right? Well, here's the thing. And this might be somewhat controversial. It is his right to make this movie. But if he knows that making this movie is going to create problems, if he knows that making this movie is going to create violence around the world, and he should, because we've seen this happen before in previous instances where movies have been made denigrating Islam, and then there have been violence around the world because of it. If you do something knowing that you could incite violence, is it still really your right to do so? You can't yell fire in a movie theater unless there's fire because you can't put people in danger. But you can create movies that would incite, like there's some real, in my opinion, there's some real philosophical debate that needs to happen here. Should this guy, this Sam Basili guy, be tried or be charged with some sort of crime for creating this movie which denigrates Islam, which then led to violence around the world and deaths and all sorts of other not fun things? In my opinion, he could be charged. Now, is it still his First Amendment right to do so? I say it is. I don't like the fact that the guy would do this. I think he's kind of a jerk for doing it. But yeah, it's his right. However, he needs to then deal with the repercussions. And that's one of the things that, in my opinion, we don't take ownership of in America. We have this thing where it's my right to do so, but with the right comes the responsibility. Obama has talked about this before. With our right of free speech comes the responsibility that we're not going to say something stupid that's going to get people killed. And when you exercise your First Amendment right and say something, you need to then take ownership of that thing, and you need to deal with the repercussions of it. So if you do something that leads to somebody dying, well, then you should be charged with that. For example, now it's not a right to drive, it's a privilege to drive, if you will, but let's just pretend that driving is a right, because for the most part, we think of driving as a right. Now, it is your right to go out and drive. It is your right to go out and drive a car and do whatever it is you want to do, drive around, hi, how you doing? But if in the act of driving that car, you end up running over someone, you have the responsibility of dealing with that. So, in my opinion, it is his right to make this movie. It's his First Amendment right to do so. But he should be, in my opinion, tried for manslaughter. I don't know what the different charges are for murder and etc. Obviously, he didn't go and personally kill these people, but his actions led to it. Kind of like if you drove into a pole, a telephone pole, and that telephone pole then landed on someone and killed them. Although you didn't personally kill that person, your actions did lead to that person's death. So we have our First Amendment right, but far too often we need to learn to shut the hell up. That's my personal opinion, and I just said it, and I will deal with the repercussions of those who disagree with me. By the way, if you disagree with me, I would love to hear from you. You can email me, you can tweet me at Scott Leffler. You can join the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/brewing with Scott Leffler. No spaces in that. You can visit my blog, scottleffler.blogspot.com. There are a variety of ways that you can get a hold of me if you do want to. And I hope that you do want to, because I like talking to people. I like hearing that people have watched the show and what they think and etc. etc. I like communication. I like interaction. That's one of the reasons that I'm doing this again. Again, for people who are new to me, I'm Scott Leffler. I used to do a talk show on WLVL in Lockport, New York, as well as WECK, which is a radio station in Cheektowaga, New York. Sorry. I think that most of the people that are watching are either from or in Buffalo. To those of you who aren't, though, because this show is going to grow. People are going to watch this show in Vegas. They're going to watch this show in London. They're going to watch this show in Tunisia, where currently the embassy is on fire because some guy is a big dirtbag. That's one of his names is Crit Bag something or other. Dirtbag is in there for obvious reasons, in my personal assessment. So please tell people about the show and chat. Get a hold of me. If you tweet me at Scott Leffler during the show, I will get that during the show, and maybe I can respond. It's not a call-in talk show. That's what I used to do. It is a tweet-in talk show. And there's chat as well. If you're watching live on Ustream.tv, you should see a little thing that says chat, and then you can chat me, hopefully. Also, there's a poll, and I'm opening the poll right now. Now, I did this yesterday, but I don't know how it worked. Or not yesterday, I did this 2 days ago. But then I forgot to go and check the responses. But today's poll question is the anti-Islam movie free speech? Do you think that this is a free speech thing? Should this guy be allowed to say this? Again, my personal opinion is he should be allowed to say it, but then he has to deal with the repercussions of it. And right now we have got 4 people dead because of this guy's movie. Now, the backstory of this. Now, in Islam, you can't... Look, one of the tenets of Christianity is that you can't take the Lord's name in vain. You're not supposed to... You shouldn't make porn with Jesus Christ in it. That's just wrong. Islam has the same thing. Now, there are fundamental Christians and there are fundamental Muslims. The fundamental Muslims seem to be a little more extreme, if you will, than the fundamental Christians, but we have our own share of crazy extremists who do things in the name of God. They kill people in the name of God, and we know that that's not really Christianity. We understand that that is an extremist faction of Christianity, and that that does not represent the United States. However, across the world, they might not get that. And here's why. Because when we see these things going on, when we see a Muslim, for example, killing a Christian or killing an American in the name of Allah, in the name of Prophet Muhammad, we think that that is Islam. In our mind, that's what Islam is. Just like in their mind, when the crazy rednecks find somebody with a turban, string them up and drag them behind their pickup truck, in their mind, that's Christianity. And they think that that's what we're all like. So we need to keep in mind, again, my opinion. This show is always going to be my opinion. Sometimes you'll agree with it, sometimes you'll disagree with it, sometimes you'll hate me, sometimes you'll love me. I don't care. I really don't. You hate me, you love me, just keep watching and tell people to watch too. In fact, tell people you hate the show. Oh my God, this Leffler guy, he's going on and on. I can't stand him. Tweet it right now. Watching Brewing with @Scott Leffler. I hate this guy. And people are going to tune in and they're going to watch. And that's a win for me. Anyway, so we need to remember that that's not Islam. We need to remember that there are crazies out there on both sides of the aisle. Timothy McVeigh from Pendleton, New York, right around the corner from where I'm living right now. I hate bringing his name up because the McVeigh family are good people. Tim, however, had some issues, but he was a Christian. We don't mention the Christian terrorist Timothy McVeigh. We just say terrorist Timothy McVeigh. But if he were Muslim, we would refer to him as the Muslim terrorist Timothy McVeigh. I like air quotes, apparently. I don't know why. Brewing with Scott Leffler, by the way. I've drank... Thirsty with Scott Leffler on Ustream.tv. But I'm through with 1 cup of coffee so far. Or 1 pot of coffee, I should say. Because I got up early this morning for no apparent reason. I woke up at about 9:30 this morning, which is really early for me. Although not nearly as early as yesterday's show, which I did live at like 5:30 in the morning because I had to go to the hospital. Not for me, I'm okay. Actually, everybody's okay because of the hospital. Because hospitals are good places. Filled with nurses. Another issue completely altogether. We'll skip that. First topic. Protected speech. Should it be protected or no? Should it be illegal for him to even make this movie? I don't think so. Topic number 2. Mitt Romney, apparently, according to something that I saw, and I retweeted it. If you follow my feed at Scott Leffler, you'll find it. Right? Maybe it was on Google+. Crap. I'm there too. Go to Google Plus and find me, Scott Leffler. I'm Scott Leffler everywhere. If you go to Facebook, I'm facebook.com/Scott Leffler, facebook.com/Brewing with Scott Leffler. On Twitter, I'm Scott Leffler. On Instagram, I'm Scott Leffler. Pretty much everywhere I am, I'm Scott Leffler. In fact, here we go. This is going to be fun. Let's post something on Instagram. This makes for great television, doesn't it? I'm going to take a picture right now, and I'm going to put it online. Taking a picture, beep, and I'll try and do this in the background so that I can continue doing the show. But anywhere you go, I'm Scott Leffler. I think that the post about, see, now I'm distracted. I'm really sorry. And there's no commercial breaks on this show, right? You've noticed that? Because, well, for one thing, I don't have sponsors. If you would like to rectify that, you are more than welcome to. Hit me up via the email, which, by the way, is scottleffler@gmail.com. Everywhere I go, just search for Scott Leffler. You'll find me, although there are others. I wrote a column about that a couple weeks ago. I am also a newspaper columnist, among other things. So I'm sending this live right now on Instagram. I'm not gonna do any frames or anything. I'm not gonna change it. I'm just gonna post it because then it'll get up there faster, right? And then we'll put a hashtag Brewing. This makes for great television. I'm really, really sorry. There we go. Gone. Instagram. I'm on there at Scott Leffler. So this Romney story may be on Google+. Somehow or another, I tend to get back on track. I go, woo, and then I come back. And I don't know how I find my way, but maybe it's with Google Maps. So Mitt Romney, according to the story that I read somewhere, which I have reposted somewhere, either Twitter or Google+, Mitt Romney asked his vice presidential candidates to give him 10 years of tax returns. Now, this is ironic because Mitt Romney himself has only released 2 years of tax returns. And the Democrats have kind of made hay over this and said, hey, Mitt Romney, you should really release more than that because you kind of want to be the leader of the free world and all that. I agree with the Democrats on this one. I don't always agree with the Democrats. I don't always agree with the Republicans. I'm in the middle. I'm a libertarian, card-carrying member of the Libertarian Party. But on this particular issue, I'm thinking that if you want to be the president, you should probably release more than 2 years of tax returns. So Mitt Romney, of his vice presidential candidates, said, I want 10 years of tax returns. Now, I think that the Democrats are probably going to make hay of this, and they should be able to, because, come on, Mitt, that's just another dumb thing. Your speech after the killings in Egypt, or Libya, I'm sorry, was dumb. Just a lot of things that you've done have been really dumb, and some people are starting to wonder, is Mitt Romney really capable of being president of the United States? Because he makes a lot of gaffes. And a lot of people seem to be deciding, no, he's not. In fact, there was a poll that was just released, a Marist poll, that some of the swing states are starting to tip towards the, actually that's right? So we'll be tipping this way. Although on your screen it's this way. I'm a fish. Video. I don't know, it's weird. I'm used to just doing radio. Some of the polls are starting to tip Obama's way. In Virginia, Obama is now up by 5 points. In Florida, Obama is now up by 5 points. And in Ohio, Obama is now up by 7 points. And the poll numbers are even worse when they extrapolate men versus women. Obama is crushing it with the women. And Romney has a 1-point edge with men across those 3 swing states. What does that mean? It means that Mitt Romney's hill is getting steeper and steeper and steeper. Although there is still that thing, that unemployment. You know, people are like, well, I don't know, the economy's in the tank, and that could still come back and really crush Obama, as in my opinion it should. And look, I don't think that Barack Obama should be reelected. My problem is his opponent is Mitt Romney, and I don't like Mitt Romney. I won't vote for either of them. I'll vote Libertarian probably. Most likely I'll vote Libertarian unless somebody else comes up from some other party and makes me decide that I want to go that route. So this poll shows that the bounce continues. The post-convention bounce that Nate Silver talked about continues. Bill Clinton's speech is really where it went, and just from then, Barack Obama all the way. I'm looking over here because my TV's over here. I saw a commercial with Bill Clinton in it, and obviously they've decided that Bill Clinton is the political master and they want to continue to use him. So Bill Clinton out stumping for Barack Obama. Bill Clinton really the turning point in this race right now, which is really sad because he's not on the ballot, although a lot of people, self-included, wish that he were. Speaking of Mitt Romney, Jason Sudeikis. Do you watch Saturday Night Live? You should watch Saturday Night Live. Some years it's good, some years it's not good, but I still watch it because it's one of those things that you have to watch. You have to vote no matter how bad the candidates suck, and you have to watch Saturday Night Live no matter how bad the show sucks. Saturday Night Live starts new shows tomorrow night. Tomorrow being Saturday, September 15th. I lost a whole month there somehow. Tomorrow being Saturday, September 15th, there is brand new Saturday Night Live, including Jason Sudeikis. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, but they weren't sure whether Sudeikis was going to come back or not. They already lost Andy Samberg, and they lost Kristen Wiig, 2 of their big heavy hitters. So they were really worried about losing Jason Sudeikis. But he's going to stay on Saturday Night Live, and he's going to continue to reprise his role of Mitt Romney. Now, he has agreed to stay on through January, or until January. I was unsure of that. That was a little bit unclear on what I read. But he's staying on at least through the election so that he can continue to be Mitt Romney. If Romney wins, I guess he has to stay on, and then he gets as much money as he wants to after that, right? I'm thinking that if you're playing the president on Saturday Night Live, they have to keep you, and they have to pay you whatever you want. So I would imagine that Jason Sudeikis will be voting for Mitt Romney as many times as humanly possible, and telling all of his friends to do so too. I don't know if he's on Twitter. I should look him up later. I will, in fact. A lot of what I get via Twitter, and I then share it via Twitter, which is why I keep mentioning my Twitter handle at Scott Leffler. So this is Brewing with Scott Leffler. I'm Scott Leffler, and I think that that's my topics for the day. I had notes, but my computer decided to be stupid. So my computer ate the notes. Fortunately, it did not eat the video stream, which I was worried about it doing there because for a while my computer froze. There was a point when you were watching the video and you might have noticed that I was like that sort of look. It's because my video froze, but I think it continued to broadcast live. I certainly hope so. And I hope that it continued to record so that everybody in the world can watch it later on YouTube. I'll get that posted this afternoon. It's Friday. It's the weekend. Go out there and have fun. Do fun things. If you are in Buffalo, music is artist this weekend. So get out and see that because that is always a good time. If you're not in Buffalo, I'm sure there's something good going on where you're at, and let me know what it is. Let me know what's going on. I'll be back Monday. At some point next week, I want to discuss the economy. I had a great conversation with my girlfriend yesterday about the economy and the way I view it. And I thought about doing that today, sharing my views on the economy today on today's show, but decided instead to talk about these other things because this ongoing global tension, I thought needed to be discussed too. And my opinion on the First Amendment versus the Fifth Amendment, I think, is crucial, and I think that you needed to know it, which is why I'm doing this show. There are things that you just need to know, and I miss you. So I'm going to sign off now, but I'll be back on Monday, live at 12:30, doing the show, just like I'm going to do from now on, and I'm going to try and do it every day, live at 12:30, at least for the time being, unless I find that there's a time that works better, but I'm thinking 12:30 works pretty well, and there will be times when I won't be able to do it, but on those days I will pre-record shows, and you can just watch it at 12:30 and pretend that I'm live. Between now and then, please do me a favor, say hi via Twitter. Oh, some people that have said hi via Twitter. I really appreciate it. My friend Bob Confer, at Bob Confer on Twitter. My friend Joe. Joe, what the hell is your last name? Joe, I can see it, but I don't. Anyway, it's Think So Joe on Twitter. Think So Joe on Twitter. And Niagara Rises, at Niagara Rises on Twitter. They all said hi to me today, and I appreciate it. Hi back at you. I'll be back Monday. Until then, have a great weekend and have one for me because I'm out. Brewing with Scott Leffler. Thanks for tuning in.